noble women could study only the fields designated by men, not only subjects they wanted to learn. In the case of married women, they supervised others, either as an instructor teaching unmarried young women or watching the maids clean. Noble women sometimes went around their family's farmland to supervise workers and manage their property. This was how they did their morning walk, and their afternoon walk was spent preparing dinner for their husbands. The food was not for women to eat, and instead it was a food to serve to a man who came in from work, and a noble woman had to prepare dinner with sincerity while supervising the maids. Even after the meal, noble women had no choice but to dance, sing, and play musical instruments, which they were taught in the morning in order to maintain the dignity and purity of women desired by men. When the time had passed and it was time to go to bed, they had to pray as they did in the morning and go to bed. And when noble women opened their eyes in the morning, the same day as yesterday was repeated. In this way, noble women enjoyed a more relaxed and comfortable life than commoners or low-ranking women. It can be said that noble women were incomparably richer than common women who had to worry about living day to day. Their lives were not physically demanding, but a boring day was repeated every day. A sense of helplessness and relief from not being able to live independently was ingrained in the heads of medieval noble women. However, one strange thing was that women's rights were so limited that even compared to other male-dominated countries, women's rights were very limited in medieval society. In a male-dominated society, there were not many cases in which women were given the right to speak up first. It was in the institutions of the Middle Ages that women did not have rights. In the Middle Ages, most European countries had a culture that started and ended with religion. It was a society where nothing worked without religion, when all functions of society were highly dependent on religion. So the words of the priests had a power equal to that of the law. In the beginning, a clergyman had a higher rank than the nobility. Christianity, which was designated as the state religion by most countries in the Middle Ages, was a belief that was born from fairly male-centered thinking. As a representative example, we could see the thinking is calling God Father. The effect of calling the one and only God the Father was to worship the head of the family similar to God. European countries that had achieved economic and social development under a patriarchal religion naturally developed a patriarchal culture. Of course, this alone cannot explain the low rise of women in medieval European countries. The idea of original sin is probably the best way to show why women were oppressed in the Middle Ages. The idea of original sin was that Eve, the first woman, fell into the temptation of the devil in the form of a snake and ate the forbidden fruit that God had told her not to eat. In fact, Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit together, but the priests called women beings who easily fall into temptation and debase themselves. In addition, priests equated women with the devil because women tempted those who led a celibate life. To put it simply, women at the time were called Eve's daughters. Of course, it was the early church that identified Eve with all women. Later, priests identified women with Mary. However, the already established patriarchal society and low rights of women could not be changed overnight. In the medieval era, women's rights were much lower than men's, not only in Europe, but everywhere in the world. However, over time, women's rights have expanded considerably in Western countries and the United States. The Gender Discrimination Act exists as an attempt to protect women's rights by law. Comparing the rights of women in the Middle Ages With the rights of women today, the difference is like night and day. However, class ceilings still exist in many societies and even in America. There are many cases in which women are not promoted in society, or at work because of their gender and receive low pay. There are still many areas where women's rights are ignored. This reality is something that should be improved in the near future.